Hi guys, Dwayne here, and this is in response to Jonas's 3-question thread, I believe. I may have the name wrong, and I hope I understood the questions right. The first one, I believe, was the show 3 records that you would, I don't know if it was pass on to children to get them started, or to introduce them to records and music, something like that. So I did choose three completely different albums, and I guess I'll just get started. So the first one, this is a good question because it makes me want to say, well, how old are they? Are they 4 years old, 3 years old, or maybe 10 or 11? So anyway, I thought a good introduction to make it fun for the kids, and it's something that they would probably just take to right away, but it would introduce some good beats, some good rhythms and things like that. And it's it's funny, but when I was a kid, I loved this album, Chipmunk Punk. And on this album, the Chipmunks are doing the Cars, Tom Petty, they cover Blondie, Billy Joel, Queen, the Knack, My Sharona. So this would introduce them to actual good tunes, but in a children's fashion. So, and this is such a fun album, Chipmunk Punk. So that would be the first one. The second one I would do, to bring them kind of more into a mainstream kind of style of music once they graduated from the first one, would be Duran Duran Rio. I think Duran Duran and their style of music, and the same thing, I think would be very good for kids, maybe a little older kids, to kind of grasp on and really move to. So Duran Duran Rio. Okay, and then the third one, strictly because when I was a kid and I was about I think I was 5 or 6 years old, my introduction to music, other than little kids 45 records like I'm a Little Teapot, stuff like that. My first real album, this isn't the actual one, it was a 3-record set, but it was this band that from the day I heard this band, from then on, it was all over for me. And it's Kiss, and this is Destroyer, and this would be the album I would give them. Because I remember listening to Detroit Rock City for the first time, and the song starts out, the guy gets in the car and starts ripping it up down the freeway, and he's on his way to a Kiss concert or whatever, and then it sounds like he wrecks, and it's just I was just so captivated as a kid, and then of course looking at what the band looked like, it was just so amazing to me. So I would hope that this would have the same effect on other kids, even today. So that's that. The second question was, pick 3 albums that represent your parents. And well, for me, I grew up as an only child with a single parent, and that was my mom. I would see my father from time to time, kind of like every other summer type of thing, and I don't really remember him listening to music. But he's definitely, and even to this day, he's a 50s guy. He collects and restores hot rod cars from the 50s, and he's in car clubs, and they do like drive-in meets at old drive-in diners. Picture basically American Graffiti. That's my dad. And so I looked to see if I had the American Graffiti soundtrack, and I don't. I thought I did. I might used to have it, but so I don't have nothing to show for my father. But my mother, when I was young, we moved all over the country when I was little, and so there was a lot of time spent in the car driving. And my mom used to have, you know, the 8-track tapes. And there are 3 specific albums that I remember listening to all the time when I was a kid from my mom. And these are them. The first one we're listening to now. She absolutely loves this album to this day. And it is such a good album. And it's America, Horse with No Name. And the title track specifically, when I hear it, I just immediately have flashbacks to me and my mom in the car, you know, driving on the freeway. So, America, Horse with No Name. The next one, this is another one. She loved this album. Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. Like I said, I remember, you know, the 8 tracks in the little vinyl cheap case, you know, in the front seat of the car, and pressing the button and hearing the click clack of the tracks changing. The third one, and this actually is my mother's copy of this album that she's had, you know, ever since I was little, and this is the very same copy, and it's now in my collection. And it's James Taylor, Sweet Baby James. And she was very big on the singer-songwriter, you know, style of the 70s. And she also was a big fan of Three Dog Night and, you know, bands like that. Okay, so the third question was choose one album for 3 different vinyl community members. So this is tough, and I can't remember whose video I was just watching, but he said, you know, it's almost as tough as the other thread where it was, you know, choose one album from each letter. I think that might have been Tony's thread. I can't remember now. But very tough because, you know, I love all you guys, and so choosing just 3. So what I did basically was just the first 3 that popped to mind. And the first one is Derek. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to pick Derek, but Derek, you're so good to watch. You're so knowledgeable. I can't remember who it was. Someone said you're like a philosopher, and that's very true. And I love that. I really, really love that. Sometimes I cannot put into words the feeling of certain music and things like that. And it just seems to come to you so naturally. And I'm just a sponge when I watch your videos, man. I just soak it in. But one band that I definitely was on the hunt for because of you and your videos, and I knew the way that you talked about it and the way that you described it, I just knew it was something I was just going to love, and I absolutely do. So much so that when I bought this album, it was a pricey album, and I had never heard the band, and I didn't care. I bought it anyway, just based on your recommendation. And it's the Yellow Magic Orchestra, and After Service. This is a live album on red vinyl, and you know, this type of music, when I spun this, I immediately fell in love with it. It gave me the impression of, you know, Japanese techno, and I don't mean techno music, you know, Japanese tech. I was envisioning, you know, Tokyo downtown at night with all the neon. You know, it's just so good, and I love Japanese bands, period. Japanese metal bands, Japanese bands like this. You know, I love the Japanese culture, and this album captures that for me. And I have some more on the way that I ordered, so, but right now this is my only YMO. But Derek, I remember when I was watching your YMO videos, I think you had 2 or 3 in a series, you know, how passionate you were about this band. So, you know, when I see or hear YMO now, Derek Vaughn automatically. So, you know, all I can say is, you know, thank you, Sensei, Derek. Okay, the next person I chose is Rob Yolovox. And one of the main reasons that I chose Rob is, and actually Rob and I have just recently kind of discovered each other, and you know, so far from what I've seen going back through Rob's catalog of videos is, wow, do we have almost a mirror collection of music. We are definitely into the same stuff, without a doubt. And one thing that he showed and featured that just really struck a chord with me, because I too am a big fan, and I am also a Newmanite, and it is Gary Newman replicas. And this is actually Gary Newman and Two Boy Army, the first band he formed, but classic album. And I actually prefer the first album. This is the second, but I know Rob was saying how much he loved this album. This was the album that got him into Gary Newman, and his favorite album. So this one's for you, Rob. Replicas, Gary Newman. And then the last one I chose, the other great VC philosopher, who has definitely turned me on to other bands, and it's just such a pleasure to watch. He exuberates, along with Derek, so much love for the vinyl community, and to quote unquote, you're like family. And Jeff, Record Man, that strikes a chord with me, and it just, when I watch your videos and welcomed me to your home, and I'm sitting on your couch, and you are showing me albums and sharing that with me, and that is so special. And the way that you present it, and just your words. And the one album I wanted to choose for you, I actually don't own a copy of, so I couldn't show that one. So my second choice was one that I do own, and I remember how passionately you spoke about this artist and how much she means to you. And I couldn't agree with you more. And it's Kate Bush, Hounds of Love. And Jeff, you're a hound of love, brother. You just ooze vinyl community love, man. So perfect title and perfect album for you, my brother. I hope I get this right. So I hope it's a good choice for you. So that's it on this video, on this thread. I hope somebody gets something out of it, but it's a good thread, Jonas. Very good questions, and I'm anxious to see what others show and have to say. So take care, everybody, and I'll be chatting at you soon, and stay in the groove. Bye.